Hello friends, my name is Srinivas and I welcome you to my channel Coding Skills. As part of this video, we will learn how to create our first Hibernate application using Maven. So if you are seeing my screen, I have already created one Hibernate application using the Maven, but I'll show you the step how we can create your own application. So click on File, choose New and select Maven project. So then click on Next. Here we need to select Maven Archetype Quick Start, which is by default selected already. So click on Next. Here we need to give the artifact ID, which is the actual project. Hibernate. So because I am already having Hibernate application, I just give Hibernate application name. So by default, artifact ID will be considered as part of the package. If you don't want, so you can remove that and you can have your own package structure. So clicking on finish is going to create one more project, but it's going to take some time as it has to download all the dependencies, and so that's why I'm not going with that step. I'll just click on the cancel button. I'll walk you through the existing Hibernate application, whatever I have already created. So as and when the first Hibernate application is created, by default, you'll have app.java and pom.xml. These are the two files which will be created, and all other files we need to create based on our project requirement. The app.java is this is kind of a startup to your Hibernate application. So it's kind of a launcher class. So we need to write all the basic stuff here to proceed with that. But this is our first program. Hence, I have just printed a message that this is welcome to Hibernate. So, but down the line, we'll be enhancing this class based on our requirements. So the next one is pom.xml. Pom is nothing but it's an XML configuration file which is specific to the Hibernate in our case. It's a configuration file. So whenever, by default, what happens, it is going to create all with the basic stuff. So whatever the artifact that you have give and the versionality and package and type user, all these things will be created by default. And here the dependencies means all the, like when I say like a dependency, it's kind of like jar files. So by default, JUnit it is useful for the creating your own test cases. By default, JUnit will be added along with your default pom.xml, and as well as Hibernate dependency. We are using Hibernate 6.1 version. So these two are the basic dependencies which are going to be added. So I have added one more dependency specific to my database. Let's say if you are planning to use a different database based on your project need, then you need to use the respective dependency. So I'm using a Postgres, and my dependencies. You need to have the respective version ID and the artifact ID and the group ID for the respective database. I added only this particular part in my case. And if you observe here, this is the build summary. So I'm using Maven version is 3.5.1 and the Java version is 17. This is the basic stuff. Once you have the pom.xml and the app.java is ready, so we need to go with another setup called hibernate.cfg.xml file. By default, you will not see this file, but we need to create this from scratch. Here, it's a flat file. We have created it under Java. What exactly this file contains? This file contains all the configurations specific to the database and all the properties associated to Hibernate. Let's work through it. And this is a standard structure of your Hibernate configuration file, and all the session factory is the by default thing, and these are the specific to your database properties. What is the driver for your database, and what is the URL of your database, and username and password. Because I'm using local, the Postgres server is running in my local server, hence I have used a local host. Suppose if you are trying to refer to a database server which is on some other location, you need to use the IP address or the system name specific to that particular mission. And the connection pool size and show SQL true means by default we made it as true. The reason is whenever you start working on Hibernate operations, any kind of a CRUD operations, you will see all the queries on the console. So this is really important when you are working in a development environment. But usually we'll turn this off when we are moving into production, because we don't want all the SQL queries to be displayed on the console. Session context will be thread, and these are the kind of basic connection pool configuration settings. Another one is Hibernate util.java. This is also you need to create from the scratch. What exactly this does is, there is a utility class we are creating to, like, which will help us to, whenever you start performing all the Hibernate operations. What exactly this is? There is a session factory we have instantiated, and a standard service registry we have instantiated. So whenever we invoke a session factory object, internally it will check if the session factory object is null, then only it will try to create a session factory object using the standard approach, like creating a registry and creating the metadata source and the metadata, and following up with that. Suppose if the session factory is not null, means it simply returns the same session factory. As part of perform this kind of set of lines, if there is any issue, so we are catching with an exception. We are also printing a stack class. If the registry is not null, what we are trying to do is, so we need to destroy it. So standard service registry builder that destroy. So these are the standard methods, like, and we do have kind of like the shutdown method. If the registry is not null, we are performing the same thing whatever we did here. Standard service registry builder dot destroy the registry we need to supply. So these are the basic stuff throughout our Hibernate application. Like what we are going to code down the line, we will be using Hibernate util dot get session factory, which is going to give us a same session factory object. On top of that, we'll be calling the other methods to get the session and the other things. This is our first program. I'll not take much time to dig into the next steps. So let's run this program. Of course, you will not see anything else apart from the SOP. The reason is we are not performing any kind of a Hibernate operation, but I just wanted to show you the basic stuff which are required. And the pom.xml file, the Hibernate configuration file. These are the two configuration files which are required whenever you start with any kind of Hibernate application. Please like the video and share it with your friends. Thank you very much.